My guests on today's episode were AJ and JJ Fountain, bandmates with locally famous campfire folk music band Brothers Fountain, and co-founders and partners of Stoked Ember Productions. This was the brothers' second time on the podcast, because I think they're a lot of fun to be around and they're always sharing great stories. The brothers and most of the band went on a 20-day, 18-show tour this fall, all across the Midwest and Southeast and points in between. If they were as old as I am, it would have killed them. Followed shortly after that was a week-long intensive recording session in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, where they laid down their finest sound so far. Stay tuned for more on that. JJ shares an awesome story about going viral on the Jerry of the Day Instagram channel via a kayak on a ski slope. Always fun to spend time with these two, so I hope you'll tune in for my conversation with AJ and JJ Fountain.
Let's have some fun.
Welcome to the LoCo Experience podcast. On this show, you'll get to know business and community leaders from all around northern Colorado and beyond. Our guests share their stories, business stories, life stories, stories of triumph and of tragedy, and through it all, you'll be inspired and entertained. These conversations are real and raw, and no topics are off limits. So pop in a breath mint and get ready to meet our latest guest. Welcome back to the LoCo Experience podcast. I'm here for the second time with the Brothers Fountain, AJ and JJ Fountain. Guys, thanks for being here.
Woohoo! Yeah. It's good to be here, man. It's
So, to set the stage for those that didn't get the first episode 20, you guys are partners and co-founders of Stoked Ember Productions, a video production company kind of specializing in the outdoor world and passion-driven business stories, I suppose, and bands and all that kind of good stuff.
Yes, sir. Well said.
And then my favorite local band, if Kent Oberman isn't listening, A Brothers Fountain, featuring campfire folk music and Get Your Boogie On.
Yes.
And you guys just got back from a for real recording studio.
Yes.
Like that you paid money for, or did you win a prize or something?
We won the prize of life on that one.
We signed a record deal, quote unquote.
What?
Yeah. So
okay.
we gave away 50% of our masters, which is not something you love to do as a musician, but for us it provided a really, really unique opportunity. So
interesting. So even your old stuff, they've got rights to some of that?
No, just the stuff that we recorded
okay.
there.
Yeah, that seems like, not that your royalties are huge on that old stuff yet, but
exactly.
It's like the Beatles. It'll be there someday.
Hopefully.
Even if you don't get to that level of success, it'll still be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I guess, let's tell me about that experience, I guess. Let's just start there, because this is going to be a little different episode, because we're not going to tell the whole business journey, although your story about cutting the head off a dead moose in the snow is still among the classic LoCo experiences, AJ.
Yes. That was my shining moment in
that was
podcast
intense.
History.
Yeah.
How many moments in podcast history have you had?
Just a couple.
Yeah, fair. It'll be hard to outpace that one anyway. So,
Yeah, it will.
so tell me about this label. Tell me about this experience. Like, how did this all come together? When did you make that decision?
Yeah, so it's not a record label. We haven't been signed by a record label. It was just a record deal in a very simple sense. So we got connected with a guy, Steve Knight, who was our knight in shining armor in a way. He is in a really big band, and they're bigger internationally than they are nationally, but they're called Flipside, Flipsyde.
Okay.
And they'll go to India and play for shows of just thousands and thousands of people. It's just crazy. But met him through Young Life, actually. Was playing music with a couple bandmates at a Young Life camp for one of their winter weekends.
Okay.
And he just came up to me after one of our sets and was like, "Hey man, I love your music," and yada yada. And we stayed in touch and got to learn more about him. He got to learn more about me, and we just developed a friendship. And he was like, "Hey, I'd love to have a Brothers Fountain come down to Muscle Shoals at Fame Studios one day." And I had no idea anything about Muscle Shoals, about Fame Studios.
Right.
Apparently it's a pretty famous place. That
I've heard it before, and
yeah.
I'm not really a music industry insider, so.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Aretha Franklin, Percy Sludge, like just these crazy huge names have recorded there, and there's just a magic there in Muscle Shoals and at that studio specifically.
So is Muscle Shoals like a town, and then there's a number of studios in Muscle Shoals, and this is that one?
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So we found out all about this in our trip, but Muscle Shoals is kind of a historic town in northern Alabama. There's a couple other towns around it, but it's kind of right on the Tennessee River, and they say that the music comes out of the river there, and it's a really special place, historic place, tiny little town.
Yeah.
But some of the greatest artists of all time. I mean, even Rolling Stones. Bob Dylan. Yeah, all these
list.
Yeah,
almost.
endless list. So there's a really good documentary. It's on YouTube. Highly recommend it. Muscle Shoals Sound or something like that.
Yeah, we could link to that in the show notes even.
Yeah. But basically, the founder of Muscle Shoals kind of sound is Rick Hall, and his son Rodney Hall is really good friends with our producer Steve Knight, our Knight in Shining Armor. So it was a really good in for us. We didn't have to pay for that historic studio space all week, and we got linked up with some of the greatest sound engineers in the world. I mean, Steve
learn a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Were they abundant with you too? Like, hey, don't do it like you've been doing it. Do it like this as they were doing it, or they just did the engineering for you?
Yes and no. I mean, they worked so beautifully with us. It was such a cool collaboration.
Yeah.
I mean, they brought out our sound, what we always knew we
that
had.
You've been hoping
to
be able to
hear.
do as you're hacking it away in your living room, making your first album or whatever.
Yeah, it is exactly right. I mean, it's just such a whole nother level of quality that we were able to experience and capture at Fame Studios. I mean, decade now or more of me just doing the DIY thing in my room, in like a freaking closet or wherever I can find to like record and do the thing, and like I'm trying to look up YouTubes as I'm like trying to record and like mix and master.
Right.
I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure it out. And so it just felt like I was always reaching for this sound and this quality that I never could really attain. And I would get kind of close to what I was hoping for, but you can really hear it. If you listen back to our stuff, it's like, it's pretty raw, it's pretty homemade, it's pretty DIY.
Yeah.
And so once we release this stuff, which we're so pumped about, you'll really be able to tell, like, wow, this is like, you would hear this on the radio. This is next level stuff. But it was crazy because Steve was like, I want to have you guys out to Muscle Shoals and yada yada, and it never occurred to me. So I'm like, I didn't really do anything about it. None of us did. I mean, AJ might have mentioned like, hey, I think that might be a pretty good opportunity, but it was kind of months and months and months that we were just like, oh, that sounds cool, I guess. I don't really know what's going on there. And then it clicked for me.
Yeah.
It was like, I can't remember how or why it clicked, but I mean, talk about like understanding opportunities as they come. It's like, man, had we not taken this opportunity, we would have been fools. So I'm so glad eventually we kind of came to our senses and we're like, oh, hey, Steve, by the way, yes, we want to do that. Where do we sign?
Well, and I'm wondering, AJ, I think the last time we spent a long lunch together or something, we were brainstorming just around that very idea of like, okay, how do we properly feed and nourish an 8 or 9, 10 person band, because we just can't do it wandering around with a day job and local stuff. And that was one of the things we said. You just somehow got to get really popular so that the expanse of digital can take you a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's so true. In the music world, there's a threshold that you have to punch through of like being kind of that DIY, grassroots band into the greater masses.
Yeah.
If you're not in the masses, you're not making money.
Yeah.
But a lot of the bands that you know and love started just grinding.
Oh yeah,
DIY
for sure. Almost all of them.
10 years,
right?
just like us. But what was really cool about Muscle Shoals was we had all 10 of us for the first time. We have 8 bandmates here in Fort Collins, and then one drummer that lives in San Antonio now, and then a cousin who's been on some music documentaries like to South Africa with us.
Oh yeah.
Chris Berkey, he lives in Philly.
Usually doesn't play with you, but when he can, he does.
Yeah,
exactly. I assume you have a backup drummer too, or you just go drummer list.
Yeah, we had Ro and ZB there, so
right on.
2 drummers there. So all 10 of us in one kind of studio making music together. It was so special. And
it was insane.
We were in the studio, every day, 15 hours.
Wow.
But
for how many days?
for 5 days straight.
Wow.
We did it. And we did about one song every day.
Wow.
And what was really cool, Kurt, is you'd appreciate this, is we got up every morning and we did, we call them our little quiet times in the mornings. And we would get together and we would just kind of do a little, just a meditation of some sort and kind of connect on a heart level first before every day. And we'd go into the office, quote unquote, and it was long days and, with zero sleep. But it was just so cool, the collaboration and the teamwork that transpired there. It was super inspiring.
So you've heard the output already of these, or is that?
Yes.
So you did 5 songs?
Five
only
songs.
in 5 days?
Yeah.
Is that going to be, or you have another session before you get a full album, or how are you going to do that?
I'm actually flying back just for a day to help finish up some of the drum tracks and just tighten it up a little bit next week. But we're going to probably just call it good as far as our contract is concerned with these 5 songs.
Okay.
And see where that takes us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was so magical. We've never actually had, so there's 10 guys, like AJ said, that are all involved in a Brothers Fountain that would be considered bandmates.
Yeah.
We've never had all of us together in the same room until this week recording at Fame Studios. And it was like so much fun. We didn't even know all the guys were going to come. We basically were like, we sent out the message to the guys in the band. We said, hey, we can't afford to pay for everybody to be there.
Right.
Literally, we couldn't. We couldn't afford to fly them there or drive them there, and let alone pay them. And so we thought, we might get 4, 5, 6 of us that might be willing to come and do this.
Yeah, yeah.
They all were like, we're in. We're totally in. This is an awesome opportunity. We want to be a part of it. And so it's so cool. There's just so much buy-in from
all
every single guy.
Got day jobs and stuff.
They all got
taking
day
a week
jobs.
off of work. And
Yeah.
Leaving there, I assume did you take the ladies down with you? Or pretty much no time for them anyway, so what's the point?
And
right?
no room either. I mean, we had this massive Airbnb that was just chock
packed
full
to the
of
gills
guys.
Stinky boys.
Yeah. But it was just rowdy, man. I mean, even like you could tell, like Rodney, the owner, and the sound engineer, and the staff there at the studio, they were just like kind of baffled by like our energy. They were just like, "Holy cow, you guys are a force to be reckoned with." But in the best way, we're just like so positive and hopeful and just excited every day. We showed up so excited, and it was magic, man. There really is such a thing to recording. Like when you go to a studio as a musician, you want the vibe to be right. You want the flow of creative energy and ideas to be there. You don't want people get having a chip on their shoulder or feeling like they got a big ego or whatever. And that's the way it was, man. Everyone showed up with so much humility, and we decided from the start, we set the intention, like, we're here to serve the song. So whatever it means, whatever it takes to serve the song and create the groove and the sound that we want. So it was beautiful.
Was there a lot of, like, I assume you already had the songs written and had performed them and stuff like that, or was there creative stuff happening even right there? Like
even right there,
new verses, new
songs. New ideas, new verses. AJ wrote a rap within like 4 hours, 2 hours or something.
That was stressful. But we did, in a way, also rehearse and play these songs a ton. Because actually, about a month ago, in November, 2 months ago, we went on a 3-week tour, and we played 18 shows in 20 days. A show almost every day, and it was insane. And we played pretty much every one of these songs every day. But like Justin said, when we got there, it was such a kind of open collaboration that, like, they were like, I love your bass line there, AJ, but let's do it, on a lower register. And then, like, I had been playing that, and that's all I knew. So, like, you have to learn on the spot. I mean, I about crap my pants the first day. It was, you're in a historic
like
studio
sitting where Aretha Franklin sat, telling me to play this new bass line that I haven't been practicing.
It was intense.
It was terrifying.
It was intense. We're stepping into a studio that, like, the greatest of the greats record in. And the sound engineer, the owner, Rodney, like, everybody's used to an extraordinary level of talent
and professionalism.
You
have talent,
and we're coming in like, sure, like, we got something going for us. Like, a Brothers Fountain has certain things going for it,
for sure.
But as far as like being technical musicians, some of us kind of have that, but most of us do not.
Right.
Last week, before we were there, Steven Tyler was there. Before that, it was Jack White. Alicia Keys. You know, that was all within the last 3 months. Demi Lovato. So like huge pop stars.
We're like, what are we doing here? This is insane. But what happened though was like we were shaking like leaves that first day. I mean, they had us come in and they were like, okay, we're gonna set you guys up, yada yada. They didn't even give us a tour. We were just like looking around, dumbfounded, like eyes wide. And they're like, okay, we're gonna set the metronome to 132 beats per minute, and here you go, like from the top. And like we would go, and then the sound engineer would be like, whoa, stop. You guys got off the metronome. Like we got to do it again. And then we'd go, and then he'd be stop.
We never played with one of those.
Yeah, literally, we're like, oh gosh, wow, this is intense. But we sorted it out. We found a good groove. Sure. But like the energy, that's the thing is with music and with like any creative project in general is like the energy, the vibe. And the humility, the space, and the humility that people bring, the openness.
Well,
the
that's where the humility comes in, right? Like,
yes,
humility, openness are kind of similar things.
Yeah, exactly. and so everybody, like within the first day, everybody, including Rodney, the sound engineer, the guys that have seen just this extraordinary talent and are expecting that. They kind of like started catching on to the Brothers Fountain sort of.
They were digging the campfire folk music.
Yeah, they were like, okay, I see what you guys are about. Like, I see what's going on here, and it was awesome, man.
The first few hours, we thought you were a bunch of hicks from Fort Collins, and now we're starting to realize you actually might have something people want to buy or something. And so, are they going to be helping you like promote that and stuff? Is there a network? Like, it's great to have really great music, but if you spend all your money shouting from the rooftop, hey, check out these new songs,
right?
That just doesn't.
Yeah, that's the real benefit that they're bringing us, I think, in a lot of ways. Is Steve Knight as our producer and Rodney Hall and Fame Studios and Muscle Shoals, like they're going to be batting for us because they have a percentage of ownership.
Hey, here we are introducing ABF to the world.
Yes, and there's all kinds of bigwig producers that they're involved with and know because it's such a historic studio. And some of them were walking through while we were recording, and we were just like, "Who are these guys?
Oh my gosh,
this is spooky!" Like they're all dressed up, so they're a bigwig.
Yeah,
dude, these guys with suits would just come into the studio, and like we would be like working on stuff, we'd be goofing off or whatever, and then all of a sudden like 3 guys in suits come walking into the engineering room, right? And like we all just straighten up and like quiet down, and they're like, "Let's hear what you guys have. Let's hear it." And that so the engineer would play it back, and we would just stand there silently, like hoping that they like it. And then they'd be like, "All right, good job, guys. That sounds good." And then move on.
See you later. Yeah.
And I mean, it felt like it was out of a movie. I mean, the studio itself is like a movie set. I mean, it feels like you go back in time about 50, 60 years. And you kind of do, like, it's all still the way that it was 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But the sound, I asked the sound engineer after like these guys in suits came and went. I was like, wait, are there always like these older dudes with suits like coming into the studio? Like, what's going on?
Right.
Like, no one's telling us like exactly who these people are or anything. And he's like, only when the vibe is right. And he gives me a wink, like gives me the elbow, and I'm like, okay, all right, we got maybe something good going here.
That's cool.
But the contract, so AJ kind of hit on this, but like I said, as a musician, you want to be really careful and cautious not to sign over your masters. It's like it's this known thing in the music industry, and like Kanye West and I think Taylor Swift and these people are like on this mission to like get back the ownership of their masters because these labels took 100% of their masters, whatever it is. But for us, like in the stage that we've been in, for Steve and Rodney to come to us and say, "Hey, we want 50% of your masters, and for that, we will provide the studio space and the sound engineer and yada yada for you guys to record this awesome, high quality music." It was a no-brainer.
Well, and connections and network and
exactly. That's exactly what I'm hitting at. Now we are business partners with Steve Knight and Rodney Hall,
right?
Because they are mutually incentivized to get our music to the masses.
So, where do you hope this goes? Like, is it like a dream to be full-time Brothers Fountain and like fit Stoked Ember into the places where it doesn't overtake your lives if this thing would pop? Or what's the 3-year vision or dream on the music side?
Yeah.
Are you in agreement on it? Have you talked to your wife?
Well, AJ's in an interesting position. I mean, I don't know how much you want to reveal, but he's been married now for 2-3 years. 5 years older than me, but and so he's kind of settling in maybe a little bit more into life, and so it's an interesting time to be as stoked as I am about A Brother's Fountain and wanting to push it as a full-time gig.
Yeah.
Because AJ's kind of in more of a I need to settle back.
Think about having a baby.
I'm thinking about having a kid.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting, but there's a ton of momentum for Brother's Fountain right now. I have stepped into a mostly full-time musician stage in life, which I'm really, really excited about. Playing solo shows and duo shows. We got a duo show coming up this Friday. And so I would love for Brothers Fountain to be the main thing.
Yeah.
I would love it. I'm pushing for that. I'm pulling for that. Heading in that direction. And I think these new records are really going to help with that.
And for the record, I would also love that.
Right.
Especially if it's on our terms, right? Which is the funny thing about music is as you continue to get into the business side, you start to realize where the different revenue streams could be. Mm-hmm. And of course, it's great to diversify those. But there's sort of a traditional model which would tell you that you can't do it with a family because you're gonna have to be on tour 3 times a year for 4 or 5 weeks. But just talking as a band, and I think we can do it in a really cool way on our terms if we continue to just press into the business side into different ways we can capitalize on our skills and talents as different bandmates. And
JJ can continue to raise publicity and awareness of the Brothers Fountain on solos, or even take Graham running around a little bit if you're hanging out,
Exactly.
that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So
good, shout out to Graham Good. Our banjo player and dear friend. He also has his own music project, Graham Good and the Painters. Full-time musician. So, and there's another guy, Trevor Michael, who's also a full-time musician.
Oh, is that right?
So,
okay. I didn't realize that.
So 2 of the 10 bandmates are full-time musicians, which is helpful because they are easier to call up and say, hey, you want to do this week, 2 week, 3 week tour?
Right.
And, we can pay you X for each show or whatever. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm a full-time musician. This is what I do.
Right.
So it's easier.
Yeah, it's different than taking 2 weeks off your job.
Exactly.
When you already burned your 2 weeks vacation 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah. That's tricky when you only got 2 weeks PTO.
Well, let's talk about the mini tour, or not super mini, but a pretty aggressive 20-day tour. Talk to me about that. Was that regional? Where did you go?
Oh my gosh,
what was that like?
It was one of the wildest things I've ever done in my life, Kurt, and hardest.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Oh my gosh, we planned way too many shows. So Justin has a big red truck we affectionately call Little Blue, and it's got 5 seats in it. We got all of our gear, all of our sound equipment, all of our backpacks, all of our instruments, and 5 dudes for I think 6,000 miles.
Oh my!
In Little Blue.
Oh my!
And we drove all across the country.
You have a topper on that at least, right?
Yeah, we did end up getting the topper because we needed that. And if you didn't pack the back of this thing perfectly, you had to repack the whole thing
because it wouldn't fit.
The first 4 shows, it took us 3-4 hours to pack because we couldn't quite figure out the exact way because it was so specific.
Maybe a little trailer next time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's just tough because you're going into cities, into alleys,
right? Try to park tight places.
Park.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it was insane. One of the coolest trips. I mean,
so you remember most of the locations, or share where did you go? How far away? What kind of clubs?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so
I could say them real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I have it memorized. It was Lawrence, St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, just south of Cincinnati. Then we went out for Virginia for 2 shows.
Okay.
We went to Knoxville, then Virginia for 2 shows. Blacksburg and Harrisonburg. 2 kind of college towns in Virginia. It's such a great time. All the way down to Orlando. Then we went to Mobile, Alabama, and then we went to New Orleans. Then we went to San Antonio and New Braunfels and up home.
Nice.
Here's the thing. We learned a lot, Kurt, on this tour. I mean, it was by far the biggest, longest, most legit tour we've ever done. We've only ever done 4 or 5 days max as far as okay, this is a tour. We have a show most nights of this tour.
Right.
And then we just full sent it to this 3-week thing. and
well, and you're basically get up. way earlier than you want to after the show, so you can hit the road to get there just in freaking time to get your stuff set up for the next show.
Dude, you hit the nail on the head. Dude, that's the thing is we, for some crazy reason, we decided we wanted to just do this huge swath of the eastern half of the whole contiguous United States.
Right.
And it's like, dude, we could have just done that same 3-week tour within like Colorado, Utah, and Arizona.
Miles,
you know, like why did we go all the way to Virginia and then down to Orlando? So what would happen is these venues a lot of times they want you to play like until the wee hours of the morning, which is so baffling to us. We're like, okay, this is crazy. Like till you want us to play music till 1 a.m. It's just nuts. So sometimes we play till 11, 12, or 1 a.m. and then we have to tear everything down.
Right.
We got to figure out where we're going to go stay. So then we get to bed at 1, 2, 3 a.m.
You don't have the room booked yet?
And then, well, who knows? Depends. Sometimes. And then we got to wake up a lot of times at 3, 4, 5 a.m. to drive 8 to 12 hours to the next
at 5 p.m.
to the next show, and literally we would like load the truck, go and arrive at the venue, and then play that next show, and then do the same thing. It was just absurd.
We got to go to an actual cafe 7 times though. Otherwise, it was fast food because we didn't have time to sit.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
nuts.
It made me realize I don't care if you're Taylor Swift. Like, if you're on the road touring, like you're much awesome. Respect to those performers. I mean, a lot of them are musicians, but also like any performer, comedians, magicians,
or like Jordan Peterson when he was doing some of his tours
speakers,
and speaking all over the place.
Seriously,
every day.
It's intense,
like
man.
it's a physical feat, and like you have to prioritize kind of some self-care in there somehow. And we did that really beautifully as a team, which I loved that part of that story. But
tell me more.
Morning meditations.
Yeah,
so,
same thing.
So every
trip
you
mentioned already.
Yeah, every trip we go on, ABF has the leadership model. Yeah. This is really cool. You can use this here in your office if you want.
Okay.
But every day there is a TL or a trip leader for that day.
Yep.
Then the trip leader elects their cabinet. Their cabinet includes a deputy, which is the second in charge.
Okay.
And the chief movement maestro, which is
like
someone
ops manager,
like
basically.
a gym teacher, someone who's going to get us moving that day.
A yoga instructor, you might say.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last position is the high priest or high priestess, and they're the ones in charge of the quiet time in the morning. So it's kind of cool because you change the leadership structure every day, and you get to
you had a group of 5, so basically you had 3 people doing something every time.
Yeah,
every day.
Exactly. Yeah. So every day someone new was leading the quiet time, someone new was leading kind of the little calisthenics throughout the day to keep our bodies moving. Someone was making the decisions on where to stop, which fast food restaurant it was, and when we were getting up, when we were leaving. It's such a relief for us just to kind of move in and out of that position.
Well, and otherwise everybody's thinking about all the things, kind of.
Exactly.
Yes. Or not thinking about any because it's just too much, and so
and then
narrow the focus
and
really blossom instead of like scattershot all the time, all day.
Exactly.
Cool.
And like
I like that.
I mean, this
distributed leadership at its best, really, and very simple for you small teams out there and things like that. Like this is actually a useful tip for you.
Huge.
Oh my
huge.
gosh.
And in the studio, I mean, it was huge. We did the same thing. If someone's like, when's lunch or what are we going to have? Well, go ask the TL. Go ask the trip leader right now, and then it's not always Justin, so he can focus on the music. And of course, he's going to make the decisions
decider
on that side.
All of them, right?
Right. And
I don't know.
Everyone should experience
McDonald's. Well, we had McDonald's yesterday. Well, then whatever. You figure it out.
I don't care. A lot of those arguments for sure. Some of the guys loved McDonald's just because we had a per diem for every guy on tour. $25 per diem. Really stayed at, a lot of money there.
Right.
So it was, some of the guys was all about McDonald's.
You can get full twice at McDonald's.
Exactly. And then you're saving, you can get full twice for $7, $8 at McDonald's. You get the app, I guess, and you can get dollar sandwiches.
Oh, right.
And so it was pretty funny because we were all super sick of McDonald's, but then there was one guy that was
what was your best show and what was your worst show on this mini tour? Or this, I guess, long mini tour, we'll call it.
Yeah. So about
extended length mini tour.
About half of the shows were venues.
Okay.
Small venues.
Like
a brewery or just a small little stage of a venue.
Okay.
Kind of divey stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other half were house shows.
Oh, wow.
So we took on a very, I don't know that it's a unique, but we really emphasized the house show approach for this tour. We thought, hey, let's play in people's family rooms. Let's play in people's basements.
Wow.
Let's play in people's backyards. And we took along with us, which is part of why it was so hard to pack the back of Little Blue. We took all that we would need to set up our own sound.
Wow.
Basically, you know, our little festival like Jamaland.
Right.
It was like this traveling Jamaland. Honestly, it felt like a traveling circus. We just would have all this stuff, all the merch, all the speakers, all the, you know, and we're just like here to entertain everybody every night, you know.
Yeah.
And so the house shows, though, proved to be very lucrative and very successful comparatively.
Yeah.
Because we would cut the middleman. You know, these venues would take a bunch of money, and these house shows, it was just like a lot more intimate. It was a lot more personable.
Well, and if somebody cared enough to book you for a house show, they already loved your music.
Exactly.
And so they would invite all their friends up to capacity.
Exactly.
Right. And the bars never really heard of you. Nobody's really heard of you. If they drop in on a Thursday night and it's good, well, that's fine, but it's too late to call their friends.
That's exactly right. And that was a really huge part of how we were able to make it profitable, because for a band like us at our level, you don't go on a tour and expect a bunch of money.
Right.
You expect to lose money.
Right. If you can break even, that's
you can break even, good for you. You did good.
Yeah.
Even if you're bigger than us, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Bands double, 5 times the size of us have a lot of trouble breaking even on tours, and we came out
when you're playing for audiences of under 100.
Yeah.
And the house takes a cut. There just isn't that much juice for especially for a 5, 6, 7, 8 person band.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. When you think about the expenses, food, gas, travel, hotels and everything else, it's crazy. So we were able to make a profit, which was cool. And the reason is because of the house shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I don't know. I think that speaks to just thinking outside the box and almost thinking independently, right? Like the music industry has these normal flows, and
you can make part of your house show. You actually have to put the band up at your house too.
And that would happen. Actually, that would happen. That was a huge benefit to the house shows as well. Was like a lot of times they'd be like, "Oh yeah, why don't you guys just
you could have the basement,
just have the basement, yeah, sleep on the floor in the family room." Like we had camping pads. We could set up any type of sleeping situation. So that was also super helpful. So there was a couple house shows in Indiana where we grew up. That we had, you
guys got a little clump of fandom over there because of your roots and stuff.
Family and friends that ended up being the most successful as far as profit.
Yeah.
But we also got connected with another musician. His name is Sam Birchfield, and he tours with a band. They go by Sam Birchfield in the Scoundrels.
Trying to get him to Jamland this year.
Yeah,
really good music. We'd love to have him at our festival up in Red Feather, but. That for me, that would be my favorite, was opening for him, because it was really, I love his music, and it was really cool to meet him in his band. We opened for him in Virginia.
Oh, cool.
And it was just a rowdy college crowd in this really divey venue.
I like it.
It was really memorable. So that was my favorite.
A lot of people say divey as an insult, but I can tell that for you, it's actually it's just the way I like it.
Yeah.
Those are more fun usually. But the worst show this is great. This is a rite of passage for a musician. We played a show for an audience of 2 people. One was the bartender, one was a guy in the bar. And it was so humbling. Mobile, Alabama, downtown.
What?
We're like, that town
Can't
is
go
very
wrong,
interesting.
Right?
Yeah. Nice people, but it just seemed kind of like a ghost town. And it was a Tuesday night or something like that.
It was a Monday night.
Monday night.
It was bad.
And it was like, oh my gosh, just such a funny experience. But honestly, I'm really proud of what we did that night, because we played our freaking hearts out. We made sure the sound was good. We didn't compromise, and we still had fun. And in a lot of ways, it was a super magical night, and kind of like a rite of passage, like I said, for a musician to play.
It'll never, like whatever bad show you have, whether you, it sounds like you played killer, but you get a crowd of 12 when you're hoping for a crowd of 100. You're like, well, at least it's not Mobile.
Exactly. At least it's not Mobile. Alabama on a Monday night. Yeah, for sure. That was a total flop, man. Talk about just like a humbling experience, a learning experience. It was really just a lack of foresight, both on our parts and the venue's part. Like the venue should have been like, "Oh, guys, I don't know if a Monday night here is going to do well for you."
Really.
But we also should have been like, maybe we shouldn't do this. On
You're like, well,
night.
it's halfway between freaking whatever
Yeah,
Virginia
exactly.
and whatever Georgia. So we gotta
Exactly.
stop somewhere near there.
And it's such a dance between like us and the venue. Like we obviously had never been to this venue before we booked the show. We had never been to Mobile, Alabama. And so we're just thinking like, well, hopefully this venue is booking us knowing that they have a natural audience of people that will come in, and just at least 5 people, 5 or 10.
Right.
But there was one guy.
Was he tuned in? Was he loving it?
Oh,
Actually, yeah,
he
he loved it.
He was so supportive, and so was the bartender. I mean, she texted some friends, and they came by. But yeah, that was humbling for sure. I loved it though. For me, that was just like core memory in a lot of ways.
So you were telling me before we started recording that you guys just signed up for our local Make Your Band Smarter and Better, the Music District.
Dude, good old Music District. Dude,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I don't know how many musicians listen to this podcast, but if you're a local musician in Fort Collins, Greeley, Loveland, the Music District is where it's at, dude. They offer so many services. For freaking $30 a month, you become a member.
Oh, wow.
It's insane.
That's cheap,
They've got these studios, they've got these conference rooms, they've got co-working space, they've got if you're a member, you get free coffee and free seltzers, and dude, I'm like, this is a gold mine.
Right, I save $60 a month in coffee.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So is it so like obviously you'd heard of the Music District and stuff. Did you just kind of assume it was kind of not so easy and just never really looked into it?
I assumed it was more expensive. I assumed it was not so easy. I didn't know what was going on in the Music District, to be honest. So I don't know if that speaks to my just not being very locally in touch with what's going on, or their lack of being able to like express and advertise themselves. I don't know. Probably both. But
yeah, probably.
I
shame on you and shame on them probably.
Well, whatever.
But you're excited to be there.
But
now.
I'm excited to be there. I'm
Awesome.
excited to be there. It's insane. I mean, as they were like giving me the lowdown of like the tour and everything they offer, my mind was just blown. I was like, wait, what the heck? What is going on here? But I think also it was more recently that they really kind of buttoned up sort of their systems.
Yeah.
Which is
really
also kind of
productized their service a little more.
Yeah, they just made it a little more.
Here's what you get for this. And
Yeah,
here's the next level up if you want.
Exactly.
Whatever.
They kind of just made some certain decisions that allowed for their systems to be more streamlined and to be kind of locked into what they do now.
It's an amazing facility.
It's an amazing facility.
They used to have a lot of people in and tours and events there and stuff, and then I think COVID, and then maybe they're starting to do that again, and I'm just off that radar. Or whatever, but
COVID definitely threw a wrench in their vibe for sure. But yeah, I just signed up to become a member.
Cool.
And they offer this sync licensing songwriter workout course. It's basically a class. They even call it like, you're going to be here for a semester, and their semester is like a month and a half. You show up every Monday for 3 hours, and you collaborate with other musicians, and you songwrite, and you learn about the world of sync licensing, which is music that would be used.
Means, really.
Yeah, so it's music that would be used for videos, advertisements,
podcast introduction songs.
Yes. Anything where you see visual content along with music.
Okay.
And so it's fascinating. They educate you on that world of sync licensing, different ways that you can make money through sync licensing, and basically how to become a good sync licensing artist and songwriter to basically cater to that world, because there's a lot of money in sync licensing for a musician, especially to work remotely, to have added revenue to these things like touring.
Well, it sounds like you've got a number of skills, like you can, as a solopreneur of sorts, virtually, JJ, you could play the drums, play the guitar, vocals, write the song, and stitch together something that's licensable and useful,
totally,
without the whole band and getting together a big series of practices before you have performance.
Right.
Just
very
pump
true.
it out.
Yeah,
and then it's playing on the background for Chevy Trucks commercial.
Yeah. I would need some help from the bandmates to make it a good enough song for a Chevy commercial. But
fair.
But yeah, no, I've got the
theoretically, you
but
could
for a Ford or maybe a Dodge.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I've got kind of that jack of many trades thing going on with the music. So yeah, so I can
theoretically
I can
or
hold
whatever,
my own
fill
and
patches here
create
and there,
something good.
or frankly, have a bunch of people at the Music District that are available.
Exactly.
Chime
Totally.
in, and you don't need to pull 5 guys away from their work during a Tuesday to record a thing because that's when you can get the studio time or whatever.
Right.
Not that I'm breaking up the Brothers Fountain, but we're trying to make sure he gets a sustainable living built out of this thing here.
Well, both of us, but
Both
if possible. But yeah, no, that for sure.
Well, and so not to shift back to the Stoked Ember, but you were telling me you're going to kind of brand update Stoked Ember and a little bit shift the maybe the focus as far as the clients on that, and is that's kind of more your baby with Justin as a helper kind of a thing in some ways?
Yeah,
is that right?
I mean we're pretty deep in cahoots on both things, on everything.
Sure.
We're tied at the hip, man.
We are, for better or for worse.
I love it.
No, it's great.
I love it.
We do complement each other really well, and I'm so blessed to work with you, brother. But yeah, the LoCo think tank chapter that I've recently joined has helped me in a lot of ways rethink and restructure how we want to operate Stoked Ember. And we ended up having a great, 2021 and a less great 2022.
Okay.
And kind of, focusing on the music a little bit more and some other projects. But looking forward, I'm kind of like, how do we want to do this? Because something needs to shift. And sort of realized our roots with Stoked Ember was outdoor focused films and videos and more narratives that are taking us outside to different locations. We're great at filming indoors, but so are a lot of companies. And I think when it comes to outdoor filming, we're a step above because we know how to work with the lighting and the conditions really well. I mean, we have backgrounds as guides. So it's been really fun. Yeah, just kind of restructuring the types of clients that we're going for, even our branding, our logo, how we're looking, how our website functions. So we've redone the website. We're really excited about it, and looking forward to working with different folks in the outdoor lifestyle world, like Topo in town. We haven't been working with them yet, but they're definitely
on your target list.
Yeah, absolutely. Also looking to kind of get in the
or like convention centers that want to show off how beautiful their place is. Not a convention center proper, but like Sky Corral.
Yeah,
up in Risk Canyon or a place like that. Like
event highlight reels from cool outdoor events, or working with local companies working on fighting climate change and things like that, or nonprofits that are focused on outdoor initiatives of different sorts. So
and we recently did a project with a local guiding company.
And I was going to say things like Outward Bound.
Yeah. Outward Bound. Yeah, for sure.
Or even like such and such ranch where you can go shoot an elk.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing that gives us a leg up when you shoot outside, sometimes like when we worked with this guiding company, sometimes it just takes some grit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we went up to
get dirty.
We went up to Rocky Mountain National Park. We woke up at like 3 a.m., tried to get up there at 4:30. And it was freaking blizzarding, and it was freezing cold.
Yeah.
And we're out there literally hiking up to Bear Lake or something. Not Bear Lake, I can't remember.
I don't know.
Somewhere in Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, some lake with a big hike up to it, and we're literally just trudging through snow on snowshoes, like hands freezing in the freezing cold. I mean, I was filming them like, they skinned up this bowl and skinned down, and I had to get some shots of them, and I was so freaking cold.
Right. Because you can't turn the camera off and on with your gloves on properly.
Oh, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But we had the grit to kind of go up there, and we were excited about it. And that same day, we went and filmed some rock climbing and some hiking and stuff, and just physically and just mentally, and it just takes some grit sometimes.
Yeah, is it about the business opportunity, or is it more about I want to be outside more doing stuff like this?
I mean,
or both?
I think it's both, right?
Yeah,
because I mean, we do want to be outside more, but I think also our clients are going to be better served by us being in our natural habitat and filming where we know and love to be. And like I said, I think we can really give any client that works with us a cut above the rest as far as videos if it's based around.
Would that include like music festivals and things like that? Like,
oh yeah,
you mentioned Jamaland and wanting to have this Spurgeon, I forget,
Sam
Birchfield, there for Jamaland next year, and I think we might as well touch on that, like not have the mystery be there, because I went to my second Jamaland this fall, and had a good time. Probably too fun, but I wasn't alone in that. But describe Jamaland to the listener that has no idea what the heck we're talking about now.
Oh man, we just did our sixth year of Jamaland. It's essentially a festival that we throw out in the woods, where people and community and music come together. Just to hang out and camp, and
a little makeshift stage, and
exactly pop-up concerts,
bunch of campers, bunch of tents.
Yep, 4 or 5 bands Friday, 5 or 6 bands Saturday, and everyone kind of brings something to share to Jamaland as well. So there's Share Rock, where people will come and put different food items that they've brought to share. Some people will lead, yoga in the mornings. Somebody making donuts for folks. Someone's making burgers at night. So it's really a fun experience. You come and you just you're hanging out with all the musicians that are playing. We ask the musicians that come up to actually hang out and camp at least the night. Yeah. Because a big part of Jamaland is to give musicians also a place to retreat and meet other musicians and hear music and hang out. And it's been so much fun. Every year it's just gotten even more and more epic. And
do you pay them?
We do. Yeah, we do.
They get paid? Because it's like a donations kind of thing just for the whole thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. We'll split however much the donations are between all the bands. Yeah. And it's never as much as we want to pay them, right?
Right.
We're still trying to figure out how to make a little more revenue from Jamaland and pay the artists a little bit more. But
if you're a landowner because that's kind of your size restricted a little bit. There just isn't room to park too much more and stuff like that up there, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's a landowner with an amazing property and a lot of privacy and a place with a stage, that's what we really need is a 400-person venue or 600-person venue for Jamaland.
Yeah, and you don't mind a bunch of rowdy mountain folk coming out drinking whiskey and kicking dirt on your land.
But we'll clean up after ourselves pretty well.
Course,
won't leave any lasting damage. Maybe leave it better than we found it.
Oh, no, absolutely. We do actually at Jamaland. We always leave it better than we find it. There's people that go up there, dude, where we typically will do Jamaland, which is at Lost Lake in Red Feather Lakes, and just trash it, man. Just trash, toilet paper, like stuff they leave behind, and we'll always clean it up.
Yeah,
we'll clean it up.
You clean it up before you get going, and then again after you finish.
Exactly. Exactly. But dude, Jamaland is absolutely magical. I mean, the words can't really describe Jamaland fully. You have to just go and experience.
Dude, Jamaland's going to blow up this year with you being at the music district there. And all those members of the district and them all sharing it with their friends and stuff like that. Like, hey, we're going to go up to Jamaland this weekend.
I hope.
So what's that? It's usually like the second, third, fourth, something like that weekend of September?
Now we've locked it into being the last weekend in August.
Last weekend in August. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Before Labor Day.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll be ready.
People were giving us too much crap about the cold up there.
Yeah, everyone's like, dude, it's too cold. A couple of years ago, we had it in like mid to late October or something.
Were at that one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was wild. But then, when it's something like that where it's really cold or whatever conditions are inclement, then the people that are there are the people that really want to be there. And so it provides a unique experience.
Fair enough. So, and we're hatching up some new plans here. I assume AJ has brought you up to speed on that, but third year house jam, Matthew's House fundraiser coming up here. Just locked in on April 25th, which is the Tuesday before FOCO MX.
Fun.
Nice.
At Odell's. And so 200 people we want there for A Brothers Fountain, and then my recent guest, Kent Oberman from the Blues Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
So the Blues Dogs are going to open for the Brothers Fountain with a short talk from Kurt and maybe somebody from the Matthews House in the middle. And we're going to raise some money for the Matthews House again.
My favorite nonprofit, my favorite brewery, my favorite bands. We love Kent.
He's so cool.
We did a 24-hour jam for the van, if you may remember, Kurt.
Yeah, I sang
4 years ago. Oh, that's right. And Kent saved us. He helped us so much in that endeavor. We ended up raising $4,000, gave $2,000 to the rescue mission, paid $2,000 for an RV that Justin still lives in.
Right.
And we took on tour. So the jam for the van really worked in a big way. And Kent was a huge part of that. He brought all these other musicians to that event, and we literally played for 24 hours straight in the streets of Fort Collins, which was awesome. But
yeah, I'm pumped for that event, though, Kurt. Man, you always do such a good job putting those on.
You do.
And it's so cool that you do that, man, because the Matthews House is doing some epic stuff, dude. They are such a world-changing organization.
Well, they've been selected as the lead agency to build a youth shelter in Loveland. I don't know if you heard about that.
Wow.
So that'll be part of the call to action. And you probably missed your radar even, but you know that trailer park that's behind the Community Life Center over on Link Lane? That's where their headquarters is over there.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole Armstrong, it wasn't really the Matthews House, but she formed a nonprofit to help the residents buy the park from the owner.
Oh, cool.
So that they all control, this 270 families are all co-op ownership group of their own property, so they can't lose their affordable housing in Fort Collins.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's
And
so
it's
cool.
all, clients and they're looking for a leg up, and it's hard to get a leg up when your rent keeps going up fast.
Yeah.
Oh,
big
yeah.
time.
So
Oh, that's awesome.
they keep making
man.
a difference. It's pretty cool. I'm
what-
really inspired.
Seriously.
That's such cool news, man. Did you know, Kurt, that AJ and I have helped guide backpacking trips through the Matthews House Experiential Learning Program?
No, I did not know that.
For the Matthews House? Yeah.
That's cool.
Those
Yeah,
are
man.
life-changing.
Yeah.
Life-changing.
So
Maybe
cool.
maybe Stoked Ember should make a video about that next
I-
That would
time.
be cool.
I would think that's a great idea.
I would consider. I would even maybe put a light sponsorship in that or something like that, as long as I get
Yeah.
a shout out at the end.
Come on.
So let's talk about it. Sean Kiefer probably is your contact there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Love that guy. Shout out to Sean Kiefer.
He's been on some trips.
Awesome local guy. Yep, he's been on a ton of those backpacking
He was
trips.
in the studio with Jenny and Nicole for this podcast, maybe back in April or so.
Awesome.
So pretty great to hear his story and all their stories, really.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
So so tune in for more on that topic, and yeah, we need to spend more time together because we can collaborate ourselves into way too much nonprofit work probably. But hey, I love the heart for that. There was one other thing I wanted to make sure that we talked about. No, not really. Actually, I covered my whole must talk about list. What do you guys want to talk about? Or should we? Actually, my beer's been empty for a little while. Do you want to do a refill? Or get a freshie?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, let's
Sure.
take a quick break.
Let's do it.
The LoCo experience is sponsored by InMotion, providing next-day delivery for local businesses. If you need anything delivered in northern Colorado, InMotion's flat fee service is a great resource for your business. Delivering from the Wyoming border to Denver and anywhere in between, their clients range from small breweries to real estate companies. InMotion can deliver almost anything you can imagine. If this fits a need for your business, contact InMotion directly by emailing them at inmotionnoco@gmail.com. That's INMOTIONNOCO@gmail.com, and mention you heard it on the LoCo experience. And we're back with a ba 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 baran.
Ba 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 baran.
Ba 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 baran. Whatever the words are, I don't know.
No one even knows. That's what's great about that.
Oh, is that right?
No one knows the words. But still,
welcome back.
everyone knows.
That's right. So we were like wondering what we should talk about next when we took off for the break, and I think we're just going to go ahead and transition into faith, family, politics, like we always talk about. And what I was thinking, I do my best thinking when I'm peeing, and sometimes not my best thinking, but I definitely have a lot of ideas. I come out of the bathroom with a fresh idea like 4 times a week for sure.
Awesome.
Ask Alma.
That is awesome.
And I was thinking to myself, kind of what you guys are talking about with your tour and recording and kind of the distributed leadership ideas and intentional separation from the world and intentional coming together. You guys are doing a lot of WWJD stuff, like with intention in the way that you are assembling your time.
Thank you.
How do you keep is your whole band, is the Brothers Fountain, are they all Christians? We talked about your faith. No, they're spiritual and they're comfortable with time spent separating like that and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Man. Everyone's just open and kind of down for the flow, and
Yeah.
everyone sort of is able to glean the good things, from different conversations and intentional things that we do, like meditations and stuff. So
Yeah.
And we're not a Christian band, and
Yeah, no.
we're open to what we can learn from other spiritualities, and it's pretty cool the different ways that the guys are how they're in different parts of their journey.
So when
and
you say
bringing
you're a
things.
Christian, yes, I believe in Jesus. Yes, I was part of Young Life. And yes, I'm super curious about other faiths and ways of approaching God and stuff like that too. Is that a fair
just
assessment?
open to wisdom.
It's not like a picking sides.
Yeah.
It's more of a way of life.
Yeah, totally. And just open to the wisdom that can be gleaned from other faiths, other religions, other perspectives.
Yeah.
And open to and excited about conversations and collaborations that can happen in the spiritual world.
Realm and space and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just reflecting on that notion, the way, right? Like that's an early kind of phrase of some of the like Gnostic Christians and stuff, I think even actually. And it's so much less tribal sounding than I am this.
Mm.
You know, it's just like this is the way I live my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you do you.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Yeah.
Rather than it standing for, you know, obviously if you're a Christian you hate the gays. Right, or that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to reconcile all of those notions of what is a marriage, what is a man, what is all that stuff, right? So anyway, how's that practically play out for you guys, like when you're on the road and stuff especially? And do you have a home church that you attend regularly now? A little bit sometimes.
We do. We have a home church. It's previously known as Everyday Joe's.
Oh yeah,
Timberline.
Oh, and they transferred it onto somebody else or something.
So
it's those guys that I met at Wild Boar.
Oh yeah.
Who is it?
Oh, the new church that took.
Yeah,
I don't remember their name.
Okay,
the community or something. The common place is now what our church is called, and it meets at the Peak, I believe, right?
So Everyday Joe's got moved out. The congregation got moved out to a different operator person.
Yep,
okay,
totally.
Yeah.
So the commonplace, is our church.
Okay,
yeah.
And where's that at?
It's at the Peak, which is another church on Mulberry.
Peak Community Church. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
They've been big supporters of Matthew's house.
Oh, cool.
Like way back, like year 2, year 3, Peak has. So for what it's worth.
But I mean, honestly, like for us, it's more than just the church we attend. I mean, it's just like so much of it goes back to just our family and our upbringing and our parents.
Right.
And their ability to teach us to kind of create community within the family and within your close circles of friends. So we grew up, I mean, going down to Kentucky, Tennessee on houseboat trips, and every morning on those trips, you know, there was that quiet time that we now institute on our trips, and someone new would lead, and it would often be more like Christian, you know, in the scripture and all that, and we do that on ours as well sometimes as well, but we kind of let everyone lead that, and if they're you know, reading a Buddhist book and they want to talk about that, that's great.
Okay, yeah, but that's part of the distributed. Exactly. It's your turn to lead the quiet time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you don't have to pull from the Bible. But But then, you know, we do have, you know, other intentional spaces where we meet and we do get in the Bible. So we have a Bible study that we started with some other guys, and it's been going for about 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
And we meet actually at Everyday Joe's every Tuesday.
Yeah.
This morning we met at 6:45.
Yeah.
Negative 15-degree weather. Luckily, we're inside. But in the past, we were in my garage, so this feels great being inside. But, you know, it's just about being curious, I think, in a lot of ways, spirituality and faith, and not necessarily trying to teach everyone or know everything, but like actually trying to figure out what the right questions are and who to ask those questions with, and to create that safe space to explore them.
That's really well said. We're on the same page with everything he just said.
We are.
He and I.
Oh, yes. Gotcha. Yeah. I thought you were talking about you and like the person sitting on your shoulder or something. I don't know. Do you guys like spend a lot of time like in personal study? And that's kind of an individual question. Do you spend time like when you're thinking about songwriting and stuff? Do you have, because when I listen to your verses, a lot of them are, at least they're like sneaky scripturally inspired. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, there's kind of an overflow that happens there. You know, it's not like I'm like, I want to incorporate this like little scripture into this song.
Right.
You know, it's like
Psalm 36 in my mind. How can I write a song about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or like, how do I make this song be about the Bible? You know, it's just more like this is just genuinely what I've been meditating on and thinking about and feeling inspired by.
Yeah.
And naturally it comes out through the songs that I write. So, yeah, I do try to get some time every morning. Although the past couple of years it's been further in fewer between.
Yeah.
But I've been kind of kicking it back to be more consistent lately. There's a book I'm reading right now called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
I've actually downloaded it, but I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh my gosh.
I can't read
so
anymore.
good.
My eyes are too weak.
It's so good.
Unless I wear my reading glasses, but that's lame. Then I'll look old.
No, you would look handsome in those reading glasses.
I don't know. They're up there. Anyway, sorry.
It's a book that just calls out basically the craziness and the absurdness and the unhealthiness of the world we live in with our phones, with being busy. It's like, how you
Always
doing?
on
Oh,
all
I'm
the
good,
time.
but I'm busy. It's like, who's not busy right now?
Right.
And it's like, well, what's, we kind of have this workaholism going on in our world. And it didn't always used to be this way, and it doesn't have to be this way now.
Right.
And it's really cool. It's a really impactful book. I've only just scratched the surface. But usually I'll try to get kind of a book going similar to that. That's sort of inspiring me in some sort of way, along with maybe popping into the Bible and reading some scripture. But
so it's almost like, I don't want to say pop culture, but kind of new science, new thought about how to make your life better is part of a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
In some ways. And I would agree with that, even if it's yoga.
Yeah.
Frankly, doing 20 minutes of yoga every morning will change your life.
Oh,
especially if you haven't been doing nothing. Especially.
Meditation.
Meditation, too, for sure.
And the difference between meditation and prayer, it's like, wait, is there a difference?
Yeah, not that I'm aware of, really.
So why are some people
just
saying meditation is Buddhist, but prayer is Christian?
Right, just the same kind of.
Yeah, so.
I was just thinking to myself, imagining somebody plowing a field behind an oxen, or even driving a tractor and harvesting a field or this and that. Yes, you're working, but your mind, you can be contemplating a conversation with a friend or a passage of scripture or something. If you're just walking behind an oxen and your job is to hold the plow straight, but now, what we call a knowledge economy, it's like you can't be like, you're busy.
Right.
You're too busy for that kind of thinking.
Right. Or you're too distracted.
Or distracted by your own, I got 5 minutes, I better look at my Twitter.
Yep.
My Instagram.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's true. Family. You're engaged to be married, young man.
I am engaged to be wed.
Oh, wait, you remember last year's the house jam show at Sweetheart Winery? When I talked to you outside, and I was like, make sure you marry that girl.
That's right. I remember that.
Don't be dilly-dallying.
Yep. You put a little fire under his ass.
And it wasn't 6 months later I heard about the engagement. So congratulations. When you get married? What's up, Abigail?
Yeah. Hey, shout out to my fiance, beautiful fiance, Abigail Scott, soon to be Abigail Fountain. We're going to get married June 3rd and actually up in Red Feather. So we met at Jamaland.
Oh, is that right? I think I remember that.
Cool.
She came up with a buddy or something.
2019, we met at Jamaland. Yeah, through a mutual friend, she was invited. We met there, and then a few months later, we went on our first date. So it's so cool to have met there. And then there's also this other story where I took an old RV up to Red Feather, was aiming to just be there for a few days over a weekend.
You got snowed in.
Ended up being a few months throughout COVID. And yeah, the RV broke down up there. But at the time, she was living in her van that she built out herself, which was really badass.
Right.
And she came up, and she would come and hang out with me while I was up there. So I'd be in the RV, she'd be in the van, and we would just hang out in Red Feather. And it's COVID, so there's nothing going on. So we just literally were just up there, like passing the time. It was the best, actually. It was the absolute best. It was the best way to spend COVID versus watching Netflix. So
right.
A lot of stories that came from that. But Red Feather. So having met there, having spent 3 months of COVID there, has become a really, really special place for us. Cool. So we're going to actually go get married right next to where we were hanging out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I might My buddy's got a property up there, so I might crash and see if I can find the fountain wedding if I don't get an invitation.
Oh yeah, come on up.
So, you're excited about that? Is she excited about the band journey that you're kind of on? Well, she's kind of a nomad anyway, right? So like she's capable of earning income when she's traveling around, and she's a writer and she's a thinker and a doer and a van converter and all that.
Yeah, she's a brilliant writer. She's a creative director for a nonprofit out of Denver called Mwebaza. Yeah, she does her own thing, just like me. She's an entrepreneur. She's so smart, so talented. She's a photographer as well. She's learning to become a videographer and video editor. It's like, what can she not do? So yeah, she's really solid. She has a solid amount of independence, but at the same time, it's hard. When I leave for these trips, we'll go on a 3+ week tour or some big film project or something, or we'll go on our little crafting trips where we'll go raft and songwrite around a campfire. And it can be hard. It can be hard for her she just wants to be involved. She wants to be there.
Right.
She's like, this is a cool adventure.
It's not that she can't handle herself, but she's got FOMO going on.
Maybe a little bit of FOMO, a little bit of like, I just want to be there with you because it sounds fun. But also, there's stuff with, the world of like trying to be a musician naturally, like I had mentioned before, to make money, you have to breach into the masses. And what that brings, which isn't what any of us are really seeking, and I can honestly say that, but it brings fame, right? It brings this clout of people that are like, oh, you're awesome,
right?
And so that brings a whole nother challenge to any relationship where it's like, who knows what it'll end up looking like? But just imagine like being the wife that has to stay at home, maybe even with a kid or a newborn.
Yeah,
and the husband is just off with his buddies, playing music for hundreds and thousands of people and probably having a really good time and getting all the praise and glory for like, oh, you're awesome, your music's great.
Well, and starry-eyed cute girls like, oh, you're so dreamy, and you've been gone a month.
Exactly. So how fun does that sound to Abigail? Probably not the most fun, but she sees us. She sees our heart, our mission, our community that we're trying to build. Yeah. She sees the grind of it, because a lot of times you as a fan, you just see the glory. It's just, oh, this looks fun, man. Like,
play music for 90 minutes.
You're living the dream, But like, there's a lot of grind behind it. So
yeah. How is that for Lori? Because you've been married a couple of years, almost 3 now, AJ. Is that right?
3.5.
3.5. Okay.
Yeah. She's been incredibly supportive of the music journey for sure. I mean, how many wives? Will let you go on tour for 3 weeks and then the next month go to Alabama for a week to record an album.
Right.
Next month's another mini tour. So it's definitely a grind, as Justin said, for us and her to be apart from each other. But she's so supportive of the journey, and it's good, to communicate through those things and to figure out what a good balance is. And it's cool just that our ability as a band to kind of adapt to different arrangements of bandmates, musicians. So if it's not appropriate for me to leave, it could be just Justin solo or Justin and Graham, or there's a number of combinations.
Knowing that you don't always have to be there is part of what makes it comfortable.
Right,
more comfortable.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's a little more pressure for Justin, I think, as the lead man going forward in that regard. But,
fair enough.
Yeah.
And is Lori a career woman now? What's she doing with her time?
Yeah, she's amazing as well. So talented. She's so good at fashion and design. She's working a lot with Sunday Supply, and which is a local company on College here, just down the road, who's also opening a kids store right next door.
Oh, is that right?
Which is pretty exciting.
Okay.
She's an amazing videographer, photographer. She works with Stoked Ember.
So she does some freelancing. She's also an entrepreneur, basically, with some kind of stable contracts that are kind of their main thing.
Yes, and shout out to Lori and Abigail. They're stepping up huge with Stoked Ember right now, working with us more, helping us, becoming more of a full team with a diverse set of talents. And Abigail's just done our whole rebrand essentially and redid our website for us as well.
Oh, wow.
Which is awesome.
So part of letting Jacob have the space to be more full-time musician is
Justin, you mean?
Justin.
His middle name's Jacob, so that's cool. I don't know how
no,
you
I
knew
knew
that.
it was.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I said it, but I did know it. But yeah, part of like freeing up some space for Justin to be a mostly full-time musician is like having dependable and consistent help at Stoked Ember that can edit, can do these things, knows how we approach that stuff.
Yes.
And Justin can still be there trumping through the deep-ass snow, getting the raw footage, but there's a lot of work to do after that, whatever, too. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So now it's really a family-owned Although Abigail will be like, I want to go trump through this.
Oh yeah, she was there. She took photos that day, so that was awesome to have her.
Lori's really sweet, but I'm pretty sure that Abigail could beat her up if it comes right down to it. I don't know.
Well, she's got 7 or 8 inches on her.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Abigail could beat me up too. So that is not an insult, Lori. I'm just reflecting the truth here. That's what we do.
I love it. That's hilarious.
She's pretty tall. I still got her by a couple inches.
Right.
And I'm also older than her by a month, so I'm like.
But she's probably heavier, right? Just kidding. I'm totally teasing. I'm sorry.
She's not.
Edit this out, Alma.
Octopus is our safe word, but we don't always have to use it. That'll be good. That'll be good content. Abigail will forgive me for that little bit of teasing.
She's a strong, capable woman.
Well, I was just saying how I was kind of a skinny guy. Justin was that we were the same height. Basically, our shoulders are the same place, our hips. But I got
the spare tire.
I could go a few more days without food.
Are we going to run the steamboat relay this year?
Yes. Are you running with me?
I want to do it with you.
Yeah, okay. You're on it.
I'm only doing it if you're doing it.
Yeah, you can be on the team. Yeah, do you want to be on the team too?
What is the steamboat relay?
So it's a relay race from Fort Collins to Steamboat Springs. A team of 12, and you get 3 legs at 6 to 8 miles each, or 4 to 7 miles each, something like that.
So what does that end up being total?
15 to 20.
That you run?
That you run. And then the total, you run overnight, go up over Dead Man Pass, stay in Walden, and you get like 1 bus on for 6 and off.
Ooh, hell no. I'll leave that to you guys.
Abigail, if you're not scared, you can be on the team.
Yeah, she might actually. She might be keen on that.
Love to have you.
No, I'm a wimp, dude.
I think
you
I've
guys,
got
I'll leave
6
that
of
to
us
you guys.
now, 6 or maybe even 7 so far.
Okay,
so I've just been talking to people. So yeah, that's the second weekend or first weekend in August.
Yeah. Our friend Mandy just bought that
race
series, so I think it'd be fun to.
It is exciting.
Kind of
I want to get back in there. Yeah, no, I'm down. LoCo Think Tank's doing a team. I didn't know you were going to be on my team, but love to have you.
Cool.
Oh, AJ's a good addition, man. He's done half Ironmans twice now, and he swam across Horsetooth Reservoir.
Oh wow!
In 7 kilometers.
So strong. I don't.
10, but who's counting?
Oh, 10. I'm sorry.
It was actually more like 12 because I was doing zigzags the whole way.
But. That's awesome, man. I want to do an Ironman, but like I'm good at the bike. I'm pretty good at running, and I expend like 3 times as much energy per meter as most swimmers. I just don't know how to grab the water like swimmers got to learn how to do, so I'm like doggy paddling here, and it just doesn't.
It gets exhausting.
Yeah. Well, I just don't go anywhere, you know? Like I get tired of just like working so hard, and then I see somebody else working half as hard going twice as fast.
Oh yeah. No, you got that though. That's the easiest thing to learn. We'll go out and swim a few times.
All right.
Don't you worry.
We'll see.
Might want to start at like not quite the full Ironman. Maybe like a shorter triathlon would be better, but we'll work our way.
Well, do you want to run the Horsetooth Half with me? That's coming up April 16th.
Okay.
And it's a beastie.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law's doing it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. My friend John, Da Vinci Sign Company, has got a team, or he's got a sponsorship, and I think he might still have 1 more pass. So.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right. I'll check in with you on that after the show.
It's a big hill climb though at the start.
Heck yeah. No, it's a ridiculous. That was my first run that I trained for. Like I'd done like 2 or 3 couch to 5Ks before that, but you can't really do a couch to Horsetooth Half. So I trained and got better at it, and worked so I could actually run 2 miles without like dying. And but that run is rough. It's like big hill, come down a little ways, big hill, think you're done, and then you got 7 miles of flat. It's just rough.
Yeah. That sounds fun, though.
Justin, you seem like you'd be built for running. Little skinny guy.
You would think, man. You would think, but shoot, dude, I got
built for me.
I got too many back problems.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you kind of been facing that. How's that going?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you doing your yoga and stuff?
Oh yeah, always,
Okay.
the yoga, the stretching, and trying to keep it strong.
Did you get injured, or is it just kind of the way God built you wasn't quite right?
Accumulation of various things, but
too many snowboard jumps that didn't land right and stuff like
have
that?
you?
Yes,
Have
actually.
you ever?
Jerry of the day.
Have you ever heard of a Instagram page called Jerry of the Day?
No, but
Write it down.
I've taken so many yard sales.
I highly recommend following Jerry of the Day if you like kind of the epic
Yard
fails.
sales.
Kind of stuff.
Yes, okay.
But it's one of my claim to fames. I can't remember if I said this last podcast.
Mm-mm.
I'm having deja vu.
I don't think so.
Is getting featured on Jerry of the Day.
Oh, okay.
And millions of people watched a video of me in a whitewater kayak sliding down a mountain up on Independence Pass of snow, taking a lip of a mountain or of a snowbank.
Oh shit!
And thinking that I would just pop up into the air like a few feet
Right.
and come down the
land nice and soft.
Nope. I sent it probably 15, 20 feet into the air, landed flat.
Meanwhile, the hill is going away from you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Landed flat.
yeah. Oh.
There was a couple inches of snow, but underneath those couple inches was concrete.
Oh.
And freaking, it's so funny. The comments were like, "Dude, this guy's gonna have back problems for life, like compression fracture, like
And
whatever."
Sent
they
it a
were
little too hard there, bro.
Yeah, and they were right.
Oh,
Those
man.
comments were right.
Dude, my high school friend did that with a snowmobile, where he was snowmobiling in a ditch and jumping approaches, and went way too far and landed on another approach. So it landed this way, and same kind of a blow, just like boom, compression fracture.
Compression, yeah, man.
Oh man,
Yeah, I was in a seated position, just landed on my butt, landed on my tailbone.
Yeah, there's nothing to give.
So that probably played
man,
a pretty big role.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Are you taking any stem cells or anything?
No, should I?
You should. Yeah, from all the podcasts I listen to and stuff, go to Mexico, get some stem cell shot in there, and you'll be fine.
You'll be good to go.
Get back in there. I mean, you might not be in for this year's Wild West Relay, but maybe next year.
Go to Mexico, get a beach bungalow, a bottle of tequila,
Right.
take a few shots.
Yeah, get a
go
few
get a
shots
couple
in your
stem
back.
cells from a sus doctor, and then you'd be good as new.
Yeah, exactly. I trust him more than I trust a lot of folks around
at this
here.
point, I'm willing to try anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. I hope it does continue to get better because you're, young. At least you found a girl now, so that she can take care of you when your back gets all shriveled up and stuff in the future.
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there.
Oh, good. Well, keep up with the yoga and stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else in the family topic that we should be talking about generally? Well, we were going to ask you, pull the goalie, get some kids out because you're no spring chicken. JJ's already 31.
We don't need to.
Lori's a little younger
point
and stuff,
fingers.
but if you guys are getting,
Kurt is keeping it real, man. I respect it.
I love it. Yes, we are thinking about next steps to starting a family.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's definitely a bit terrifying.
right?
Trying to cherish these moments, and you never know, what God's got for us and how it'll go and all that. But
I have a recommendation for if you're successful in that endeavor, consider hosting exchange students.
Oh yeah,
Because they can't really have a job, they can't legally earn income, and so you could just have a 16-year-old girl from Poland or Denmark or Brazil or something, or a boy.
Yeah.
Hey, me and the missus are going out. It's our Friday night date night. You're staying at home with our baby.
You mind watching this infant for a few hours? Welcome to America. Here's
Watch this infant.
Built-in babysitter.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
Not
I like
a bad
that
idea.
And it's kind of like what do they call the au pair? But you have to pay an au pair.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just call yourself a host family exchange thing, then you just get a freebie.
Yeah.
Life hack.
Life hack, exactly. There you go. That one's free.
Cells and free au
That
pairs.
one's free. Yeah. Yes, sus doctors in Mexico and free au pairs. There you go.
This could be another podcast, Life Hacks with Kurt Bear. Yeah.
Lori, I think very highly of you, and AJ as well. So
100%.
you guys can talk about it later. Pull the goalie.
Yeah, I'm ready to be an uncle, man. I think
Right?
I think that'll be fun.
Are you? I mean,
pressure.
yeah. I won't ask you yet. You're just getting married in June, so
Yeah, no, we're gonna give it a few years. We got a good 5-year plan going on.
Yeah.
We got X, Y, and Z goals for now and 5 years from now.
So you're 31. I think Abigail's a little younger than you, but I don't know.
She's a month younger.
Oh wow.
Yep,
Okay.
2 inches shorter, 1 month younger. So I'm
Well, so don't wait too long though. That 35, 36 zone. It's kind of the best of the end of the prime time.
I do. Yeah, I do know that.
And maybe you guys don't want him. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, we're a little uncertain on the kid thing.
Well, it's weird after you've been a nomad all your life and you hitchhike to Alaska and you go travel around South Africa and now you're. Yeah, it's strange adapting to a different way of seeing the world and thinking.
Right, exactly. It's a transition.
So, politics. Should we talk about Twitter? Should we talk about vaccine sudden death syndrome? Should we talk about Europe, Russia, Ukraine? What would we? There's so many current events that we could potentially step on a landmine.
Oh my goodness!
But not as many as there was before. It seems like there's not nearly as many taboo subjects as there was even a year ago. In some ways,
That's true.
I've got a bone to pick with local Fort Collins politicians.
Oh, let's hear it.
Why are we one of the coolest towns in Colorado, yet we only have 6 pickleball courts in the entire city? I mean, are you kidding me? Every town in northern Colorado, all these small towns, Windsor, Berthoud, they have more than us. I'm a big pickleball guy and a little bit less of a politician guy, so that's why I brought it here.
I think that's good. Did you connect with Kim, by the way? Didn't I introduce you to Kim O'Neill? Because her husband's building a basketball court.
Yeah, I did text her back, and I think it was like, okay, we'll let you know if anything's happening or something like that. But
she was a sympathetic ear. She was like, it might make sense for us to build pickleball into the equation.
Oh yeah, I think those two would work together brilliantly. I mean, you could share courts, and so one of my goals this year is to get involved professionally in some way with pickleball, with
making more pickleball happen.
Yes, whether it's
kind of like this place needs more cowbell.
Yeah, we need a little more pickleball. This sport grew from 6 million to 36 million last year.
What? Last year?
Last year, in 1 year, 6x'd. We could be the best city for pickleball in the state. Instead, we're the worst, right? I really think if the city prioritized making this, making more pickleball courts, fostering that in a better way, I think it really could make us a better city and
we need
foster
tax
more
incentives.
Community. Yeah,
tax incentives, tax increment financing to.
That's insane. 6x. That pickleball is just taking off like crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. So yeah, we're trying to work with some pickleball.
So if you hear this and you want to help AJ's dreams of appropriate pickleball court access in Fort Collins come true, he's willing to help you out. He'll do a benefit concert. The Brothers Fountain will if you got a sweet place and a free fundraising video with Stoked Ember. Right, and maybe a base funding level.
we'll get you covered. So it's called Chicken and Waffle, based out of Texas, and they're it's really cool concept. It's like a bar and a restaurant, fried chicken, pickles. Yeah. There's also a bunch of pickleball courts, indoor, outdoor, and they have a stage. So I'm trying to talk to them and say, hey, let me help you get a franchise started up here. Yeah. And that could be a really cool fit.
I had a cool experience last weekend. I was at Podfest in Orlando, and I played ping pong a little bit with Wally Green, and he's like a professional ping pong player. And he's got a couple of nightclubs in New York that are ping pong and disco and electronic dance music and stuff like that, basically. But he told his story as our keynote for the Podfest, and this kid grew up in the projects, and his stepdad was abusive to him and his mom, and I can't share his story in the same way that he did, but it blew me away with his authenticity and the realness of it. And ping pong saved his life. He ended up he stumbled into a pool hall and ping pong place, and the guy started paying him $20 an hour to play ping pong with him. And then 4 months later sent him to Germany to learn how to play ping pong like a pro.
That's cool.
Wow. Yeah, and he swooped him up off the streets and turned him into a professional ping pong player. Wow. I mean, he did. He turned himself into it, but only because that somebody believed in him for the first time in his life, pretty much, when he was 16 or 15 or I don't know what.
That's awesome.
Anyway,
that's cool.
Check out Wally Green if you guys are listening. He's got an Instagram or a TikTok, and just a really cool guy. So
that's amazing.
That's my rant is intentionally try to make somebody's life better once in a while.
Yeah, come on.
Would probably be a good political line that you guys would buy into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Justin, what do you want to talk about in politics? Are we in World War III? Are we in the early start of World War III?
I'll be honest, Kurt.
You don't pay attention to that kind of stuff.
I don't even know.
Good vibes only, baby. Good vibes only.
I would not know where to begin, and that's just me being honest. I mean, I probably should stay better up to date with current events and politics and everything. I admit it.
Yeah. But you think so?
It just feels like, man, I'm just doing my best to stay on top of life, and make a career out of playing music. So
yeah.
So I don't know. What do you
don't
think?
Have anything on politics?
What's on your mind in politics?
Oh God, there's too much. I got into Twitter again a couple months ago. I'm all about the free speech. Elon. I loved I love a lot of Elon Musk tweets, but like a couple months ago, probably 6 weeks ago, he tweeted, in 2020, I was the man of the year. And like everybody hates him now because he's a free speech warrior and he's releasing files that make Pfizer look terrible and the government look terrible and the FBI look terrible and yada, yada, yada. And you probably haven't been paying attention. But there's a lot of no good nicks out there in the world that are twisting the narrative to their own causes. So just be thoughtful. Remember, a tinfoil hat protects you more than a cloth mask.
All right. I mean, let's be thankful that we live in this country where we can call out some of the BS in a way. Like, I know that there's plenty of government censorship happening in this way and that subtly, but comparatively to every other country in the world, we're freaking.
I can still say stuff like that without somebody coming knocking on my door.
Exactly.
I mean, like, we heard
Thank
this.
your lucky stars that we can speak our minds. And, like, I'm so thankful for this country and the state of Colorado and the city of Fort Collins, as much as I give crap to the politicians for not having pickleball courts. The way that this town supports music, this state supports the outdoors, and this country just supports dreams, I think is beautiful.
Yeah. I retweeted somebody's quote earlier today, and it was, an elephant is a mouse built to government specifications. They always overdo the solution. So, like, if they did a pickleball court, it would probably be like 32 courts, of which only 10 would ever be used at the same time, and everybody in the city would have to, even if they don't care about pickleball, would have to pay, $200 a year to cover the cost of maintaining the pickleball courts for everybody.
We'll use all 32, and we do need your $200.
We'll take all 32 and your $200. Thank you. You're a socialist, aren't you?
A little bit.
A communitarian. I thought I coined that term a while back, communitarian, but it turns out it's basically an old branch of socialism, so I probably stopped using that. So I know that you guys, because when last time you were on, you each had your own LoCo experience. Together it was jumping off a big waterfall. Yours was your trip to Alaska, JJ, and AJ, as already mentioned, you cut the head off of a dead standing moose up in the steamboat and took it home with you.
Great memory.
Yeah, wow.
And but I know that, like, you guys have got more LoCo experiences than that. What are let's go solos. We don't need to have the pressure of doing even though you're kind of semi-joined at the hip sometimes, but what's the LoCo experience of your life, or maybe even in the past 24 months? I think it's about been that long since I had you on.
And help us again. How do you supposed to say
experience?
Okay.
A crazy experience from your lifetime.
But like 2 minutes, right, or something?
Yeah,
something quick.
Whatever.
Quick.
2 to 4 minutes. It could be a day, a week, a minute. Could be the Muscle Shoals recording session week. I don't know. That's a pretty crazy experience. It seems like that could be your shared one. I don't know.
What do you think, Jess? You got one?
Got any near-death experiences?
Yeah, those are always good.
I mean, the kayak thing, like, suggests to me that there's some crazy stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? Before we do this, I noticed my camera quit recording.
Yeah.
I wonder if, in case I want to do a LoCo experience, like, compilation episode sometime, I should probably grab that.
Okay. No problem.
All right, we're back. So, the LoCo experiences.
Yeah, so once upon a time, myself, AJ, and 2 other bandmates, Christopher Burkholder and Chris Moore, decided that we wanted to go somewhere outside of the United States and travel only by the means of music.
Yeah.
And so we would not bring any extra food or money to start that journey. We would start that journey from scratch, essentially being homeless and helpless.
This is kind of a next phase of your trip to Alaska that you described last time.
Exactly.
The Only Music.
Yep. It's chapter 2 of the Only Music projects. And so we got into a room together, and we thought, okay, where could we go? Costa Rica, Canada, Europe.
All those sound pretty easy comparatively.
South Africa. And for some reason, all of us were really stoked on going to South Africa, except for AJ.
What? Call me out.
AJ did not want to go to South Africa.
Well, and he's historically like your main logistics guy and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Booking guy.
Just the overall planner and
right, organized guy and
smart,
whatnot.
organized, cautious guy. And he was like, guys.
He's like, have you heard about the political situation in South Africa?
Exactly. He was like, guys, I don't know,
well,
man.
For what it's worth, my brother has imported now 2 South Africans to work on his farm.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And like they have to go home a couple months every year or something like that as part of their visa.
Mm-hmm.
And they're usually just a little bit scared that they might not come back because like farmers in South Africa, white farmers in South Africa are under very heavy oppression, and their family is like, no, you get out of here.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with South Africa.
Yeah. But there's a good reason to bring music to them and bring people together.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we all were just so locked in on South Africa. Eventually we convinced AJ that we were going to go there. And so we booked the flights, and we shipped out to South Africa. And we had collected a bunch of snacks from the plane ride. Like little, freaking crackers and breads and chocolates and things.
You're like talking nice to the flight attendants.
Oh yeah, we got little whiskey things, and then we arrive at the airport in Durban, South Africa, with our goal of making it to Cape Town from Durban, which is a little over 1,000 miles.
Is this the east coast of Africa? Is that right? It's like over here.
Basically
the
south.
the southern coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like across from the
Durban to Cape Town.
from the west to the east.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm.
Okay. All right.
No, east to the west.
Yeah.
East to the west.
Yep.
So starting over here and then coming back this way.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. And we arrived at the Durban airport, and we're like, okay, yada yada yada. Here we go. Let's eat as much of these snacks as we can right now, and the rest we're gonna throw away. And we did, and we stepped foot out onto the outside of the entrance and started playing music. And about 10 minutes later, some airport official comes up to us and says, "Do you guys have a permit to play here?"
You're like, no, we don't have a permit to play
anywhere. We said, no, we do not. And they were like, you can't play music here. So we're like, well, what?
How are we going to get a ride to our next destination?
What do we do? And so, honestly, it was an absolute miracle. Like, they made an exception for us. It kind of took a bit of a run around. And they're like, whatever, fine, you can play. And so we kept playing music, and we met this guy, this local guy, Durban.
Like you got an open guitar case there, like hoping to get cab fare.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we're trying to chat up people.
But it's not just a cab because you got 5 or 6 of you, right?
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, there's 4 of us.
4 of you. Okay.
And so, but we met this really nice.
AJ's like, I can't really believe we were, but
I can't believe we did that. Yeah.
Yeah, met this really nice, Indian South African, who really just took us under his wing, and he bought us a meal, and he said, you know what, guys, like I think I can fit you guys in my tiny little compact car, and we literally piled on top of each other with our gear and
you can't have a bongo drum or something because you can't have a real drum set or anything like that.
Yeah, it's all kind of
you
travel
got your
instrument.
Ukulele because you can't really real guitar.
Yeah, mini guitar, ukulele, a little makeshift stuff going on, and it was just insane. I mean, I can't even describe it. It just was nuts. Every interaction relationally felt miraculous. Every person that took us under their wing, that took us into their home, that offered us a gig, that even just dropped in a few bucks, it was like, this is incredible. Like, it was a gift from God.
Well, you're like a group of streetwalkers, basically, out of your circumstances. But at least you can play music.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of nights we didn't know where we were going to sleep. We didn't know what we were going to do. Like, we would run out of money, and then we'd run out of food, and then we'd try to play music, but it's like, where do we go to play music? We can't travel to go anywhere where we should play music and could play music. And nights where, or mornings where we were like, well, we just spent the last of our money on this campground that we just, stayed in our tent at, and now we have nothing. Let's just walk down the street in the direction we're going towards Cape Town and try to find a spot in this next town that we can busk and play music and see what happens. So there was it was a series. Honestly, every day there was just a miracle.
And God provided just in time inventory of opportunities and resources, it sounds like.
Yeah.
It was insane.
It was nuts.
I like to say we have a time machine at LoCo Think Tank, a just-in-time machine. And God does that too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Or the universe or life or whatever. Like, people are generous, especially when they see you giving off good vibes. So I dig it. AJ, what do you got? You want to...
You have to put yourself in those situations to see God's providence.
Yeah.
So, like, it's pretty
a lot of us
easy.
call it providence, actually.
Yeah, sorry. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
but it sounds a lot, or it looks a lot more like providence, what he does.
Exactly. It's just interesting because my day-to-day isn't like it was in South Africa.
Right.
So I don't quite to see God quite as much, but we can still do that in little ways in our day-to-day, obviously. And one thing that's really cool is we got to partner with Ovation Guitars, LP Percussion. They give us all these cool instruments that we took and played along the way. And then at the end, we gave them to a music school in a kind of rundown township area where they didn't have many instruments for the kids to play. And so we donated a saxophone and all these percussion instruments and mini guitars that we used to get down the coast in Cape Town to these kids. So that was really sweet at the end to do that. But my story of the local experience, it's a little less epic as far as being international trip and all that. But I thought about our trip last year. We took to Bozeman, Montana, and we did a little mini tour up there. And it was a lot of work. I mean, we played a show Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday night. But in the middle of our show Saturday night, this was on Red Lodge Mountain in Red Lodge, Montana. Great little ski hill there. Played right on the ski hill. The fireworks were going off. But I got a note as I'm playing mid-song. And on the note, I look and it says, "Come talk to me. I need to talk to you." And I look up. This is mid-song, in the middle of a set. I'm stopping my bass. And the guy's like, and I'm like, "Okay, can I finish the song?" I finished the song. All right, I'll walk out to this guy and he goes, "I want to know how much would it cost? We need to get you guys out to our ranch and play after this again."
Oh, okay. Right after this?
Yes, right after this. We just played 3 shows in a row. This would be our 4th in 3 days. We were exhausted. It was blizzard out. Figured out a deal. Why not? Let's do it. Let's go play acoustic. So we take the van out with the trailer and all the instruments to this random house. And, of course, they're pretty rich folks.
Oh,
yeah. And as we're driving out, we're like, "Where is this
Did you ask for enough money?
Yeah. I did. I should ask for more though.
Fair, but it was still twice what you normally got paid at least.
Yeah. So we're driving out in the snowstorm, and we're like, "Where is this place?" And of course, the van slides into a ditch. But it's great. All 6, we got 6, 7 burly bandmates.
You can push a van.
Everyone's pushing, laughing. We get back in, we get down, and then we're at the house, and it's all closed up. And we're like, "What the heck?" I remember walking up, and I knocked on the garage, and they open it up, and it's like all these, rich old white guys sitting in their lazy boys in this finished garage, smoking cigars, drinking fine bourbons, and "Finally, you boys showed up. Let's get this thing on the road." We're like, "Oh my God, who are these guys?" We unload. They're like, "Come on, we got dinner for you guys. We have a chef." They had a personal chef. It was the COO for the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, really?
Was one of these guys, and
some other rich people.
Yeah, and some other rich people
might
that knew
know
him.
But, yeah.
Exactly. And They fed us a delicious meal. We had some really fancy, nice wines, and played an acoustic show for them with our voices all hoarse. But they loved it. We had an absolute blast.
What a cool thing!
And that was just a kind of a wild experience that we took advantage of.
Got stuck in the snow on the way out. We had to push the car out of the snow.
Well, it's such a praise thing, though. Like, I don't know how to say it. Like, nothing feels better than knowing somebody that just appreciates you for what you're doing and does it quickly. Like, that guy probably never heard of you guys before in his whole life, never saw you perform, never saw any of your videos, never saw nothing.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
And said, you know what? I got my annual cigar smoking and barbecue tomorrow, and it would be cool to have these guys out there.
So it wasn't tomorrow, it was tonight. Right after
tonight.
This.
Whatever, right after this. Right.
It was a magical moment, man. It was really cool.
And they were really impacted. I mean, they were kind of, bro-y, old, rich, white guys, and they had their wives there, their wives were so sweet. But they were impacted by our music. And, our music, like you said, it's a little bit spiritual, and it's a little bit different, So, like, it's just cool to get to interact with these people that, you wouldn't think would be in your circle.
Well, for them, it was probably a respite from the normal.
Yeah.
Right. They spend every day just driving and pushing and getting to the bottom line, figuring out the big decisions, all that kind of stuff. And just to take a step back and be like, I'm going to hang out and listen to these kids play music in our garage.
Yeah. Can I share one snippet of our trip in South Africa?
Of course.
So one specific thing that happened as we traveled, we're white. There's a lot of polarization in South Africa between white and black people. And there's even, as I'll use their words, there's the white folks, there's the black folks, and there's the colored folks. So there's kind of like an in-between population.
Well, and you mentioned a South African Indian person that picked you up in the
airport.
There's
there's a huge Indian population, for sure. There's a ton of diversity.
Right.
So naturally, a lot of the the local South African white folks would kind of, come to us and offer, a meal or to host us. And we slowly, as we traveled, would kind of pick up on just like that polarization and just how polarized it really is, and just that political tension and everything going on over there. And we had some unfortunate encounters with some racism, some just flat out blatant racism.
Like white people being like, why were you even wasting your time talking to that black person, or things
Absolutely.
like that, dumb things like that.
Things like More than that. There was there was an encounter, and it was just weird, man. Like, just
isn't it weird when you see it and you're just
well,
you don't really think it really exists. And I've had a couple examples of that myself lately.
Totally. You just hope the best in people. You wish for the best in people. And for us, we wished and hoped for the best story for South Africa and everyone that we encountered, right? But like, there was this owner of this bar who we were in cahoots with. I mean, we met him. He had us over at his house, stayed the night there a couple nights. And there was one night, I think it was the last night we were with him, we're playing music at his bar, and this black guy comes up, and he's vibing with our music, and we're vibing with him. We're like, yeah, dude. And we're trying to show this guy at this bar of what are mostly white people, which we have to assume
that he's awesome too, and you love him for being there.
Yeah, exactly. We're at this bar with these white South Africans that are likely leaning towards like just being racist white South Africans, and we're like trying to express to this guy that like, hey, we're for you. We're like, we love you, man. Like, come jam with us. Here's a shaker. We gave him a shaker. He starts playing the shaker with us.
Yeah.
And we're just having a good time. We learned that later on that night, the owner of the bar, who again hosted us, who we knew personally,
right,
had some words for this guy and met him in the bathroom, like cornered him while he went to the bathroom.
Wow.
And beat the shit out of him.
What?
Beat the shit out of him.
For like putting himself in display in front of his place there. And
exactly. For
taking a place of honor almost with your band and stuff.
Exactly.
Oh,
we were torn up about it, dude. We were like, dude, what? Are we total idiots for this? Like, what did we do wrong? Like, what is going on? It was just so intense. Yeah. Exactly. What's our part? Like, shoot, man. Like, we just
like, did I just get that guy beat up?
Exactly. Exactly. So there's stuff like that going on, right?
Yeah.
And so, but throughout our journey, we're hearing about you got to stay away from the townships. Stay away from the townships.
Because that's the outskirts. That's where the blacks
the
are
outskirts.
almost.
It's basically the ghetto. It's what in South Africa. It's their term for basically the ghetto.
Yeah.
Stay out of the townships. Don't go near the townships. Be careful if you're near the townships.
Right.
All that type of stuff.
Well, it's fear talk.
Exactly.
Like we see all across our media, whether it's jabs or no jabs, or it's this or that, or Ukraine and Russia, and blah blah blah. It's like fear mongering.
So we finally make it to Cape Town. And we got in touch with this local guy who was with this nonprofit that we got in touch with. We ended up donating our instruments to.
Yeah.
And he was black.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned to the guys a few days before the trip was over, hey, I know that the townships are intense and maybe, there's a lot of fear there.
Chance we might not come home.
But I think that this is the missing piece. We need to go into a township.
Yeah.
We need to take our music into a township. And I didn't know how it would look, how it would happen, but we get in touch with this guy in Cape Town, local guy. He's got connections everywhere. Really good dude. Sibuso.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, hey, guys, you guys want to go into a township? And we were like, yes, this is our opportunity. We're like, absolutely, we do. So he takes us into this township. We start driving around, and it's run down, man. Right. I mean, it's like shacks, and we're deep.
We're not going to make too much money here because we got more money than everybody here.
And he's telling us these statistics, like this is the murder capital of of South Africa, and yada yada. But here's the township, and he takes us to this cantina, which is like this little local township bar place to get alcohol.
Yeah.
And we step out of the car, and a few moments after we show up, we're like, hey, I wonder if we should grab our instruments and play some music here. I wonder if this is our opportunity to bring our music.
Yeah.
So we did. So we grab our instruments. We sort of post up in this township, and we're feeling awkward, right? We're like, dude, we're white as the freaking snow, and we clearly don't belong here. We have American accents. And we just don't know what's going on, right? We're just following this local guy around, sort of feeling sheepish. And we take our instruments out. We start playing in this cantina. And there's a few people there. And there's not a white person in sight. Zero. And while we're feeling sheepish, they're also looking at us thinking, what the heck is going on? What are you guys doing here? You can just see it in their eyes. The way they're looking at us, they're like, what the heck are you doing here? And so we start playing our music very like awkwardly and like weirdly in this place.
You're not quite in flow state yet.
And exactly.
Sitting on crates.
And slowly but surely, there was a few, 3, 4, 5 people in the general vicinity. They start vibing. They start grooving. They start coming closer to us. And then the 3, 4, 5 people turn into 8 people. The 8 people turn into 12 people. The 12 people turn into like 20 or 30 people, including a gang of 15 kids under the age of 7, under the age of 10 or whatever. And
also not big spenders, probably.
Literally, everyone just starts gathering and conversing, communing. And I mean, I had a guy, it was just such a beautiful moment. Like, this guy was sitting next to me as I'm jamming, and we start handing out instruments, and we just start talking.
Yeah.
And he's telling me, just expressing this like gratitude to me.
Yeah.
And he holds my hand. In our culture, we don't hold hands, but in their culture and in other cultures in the world, they'll hold hands man to man.
Awesome.
Yeah. So he grabs my hand just like this.
I love it.
And he looks deep into my face, and he's like, "Man, no white people ever come here, but you are welcome here. I'm so glad that you are here. If you need a place to stay, if you need food, if you need water, drink, I would host you in a heartbeat." And he's telling me this in his sort of accent, and I'm having a hard time understanding what he's saying, whatever. But there was just such a beautiful, amazing moment, and it was the pinnacle.
Can't hear the words, but you know what he means.
Exactly. It was the pinnacle of the whole trip to South Africa, of what we were seeking after. What is the power of music? What can only music do to provide for us, to help us connect with people on a deep spiritual relational level? And it was the pinnacle. It was one of the last days we were there. It was in that township with those South Africans, and it was absolutely beautiful.
That's awesome. I really like that. I'm really glad you came back in to share that.
Yeah, that's a great story. It got me emotional.
Me too. Yeah, I can see you're listening. You guys, I think that's a good place to stop. When is your new music going to be out with the Muscle Shoals thing and stuff?
We don't know, man. There's a bit of a runaround with promoting it and pitching it to different labels and whatever else.
Find it on abrothersfountain.com.
So you can look up abrothersfountain.com. We'll show you. You click on our shows tab. It'll show you all the shows we got coming up, and you can just show up to any show, obviously, and come vibe out with us. We're on all the social media platforms, Spotify, freaking Amazon Music, Apple Music, whatever platform you prefer, we're on it. This album, though, that we recorded at Muscle Shoals, it's going to be a minute. It might be 6 to 12 months before it's actually released to the public. Okay.
And Stoked Ember, if people want to get some outdoor videography kind of stuff done, is it stokedember.com?
StokedEmberProductions.com.
Oh, yeah, StokedEmberProductions.com.
Would love to chat. And just thank you so much, Kurt, for having us on this LoCo experience. It's such a amazing podcast, and we just believe in you and love you so much, and believe in this kind of form of community that you're promoting here, of just talking to people about what they're passionate about and sharing that with the world and your audience. So thanks for doing that and having us.
Thanks for that. And cheers.
Thanks,
check it out.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode. This is Alma Ferrer, producer of the LoCo Experience podcast. If you enjoyed this program and would like to support the show, please share it with your favorite people and leave us a review. To see upcoming guests, behind-the-scenes footage, and more, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at the LoCo Experience. Subscribe to never miss the latest interview, and until next time, stay LoCo.